Hello Flosstube friends, today is Thursday, April 9th, 2026. My name is Audrey Marine. This is a channel all about cross stitch and you are very welcome here. It has been almost 4 weeks since my last regular Flosstube update. I have posted a couple videos since then. One was a Stitch With Me video and then one was a Stitch With Me video specifically about satin stitches. If you are interested in either of those but you missed them, I will go ahead and link them below for you. You can find me on Instagram at StitchStitchBead, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and take a look at the drop-down box below. Perhaps the information that you're looking for is in there. If not, you can leave any questions or comments here on YouTube. You can also email me, and I will leave that information below if you prefer to get a hold of me that way. But I have a few finishes, fully finished objects. I have a couple new starts, and then I've got a couple whips, and that's actually where I'm going to start. So let's just get into it. I have Mary Wigglesworth. This is from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. If you have been following along here, you will have seen Mary, but I did make some progress on her. Significant progress made to Mary here. I added these motifs here along the side and then brought that border down. So I think it's safe to say I am over the 50% mark. I am stitching this on 46 count Thornfield from Needle and Flax, and I am using the called for 103s, and she is really fun to stitch. This band up at the top was definitely the most fun part of this, the most, I think, eye-catching part of this sampler. And it's just beautiful. So, and this is a good size sampler. It's only 249 by 249. Not many of them are square, but this one actually is square and not overly large. If you want to see a finish of this, Grace Paisley Stitcher has finished Mary Wigglesworth, as has Jules Darling, and she actually showed her framed finish of Mary Wigglesworth in a Flosstube video that she just put out. I think it was sometime last month. It was not her latest video that just came out a few days ago, but the one before that. Absolutely spectacular. So I'm looking forward to having my own Mary done in the near future here. The next piece that I worked on is Maria Wales Newson, 1838. I am participating in the SAL being run by Judy Hall on the Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers Facebook group. If you're on Facebook and you're not in that group, you might want to check it out. If you're interested, there is a lot of sampler activity, people posting progress, not just on this piece because there's a year-long SAL going on, but other hats pieces as well. It's always very encouraging. It's just a wonderful place to, at least online, connect with other people who enjoy Hands Across the Sea Samplers pieces. So I have so far kept up with the stitch along. Now we are not done with the month of April, so it's okay that I haven't stitched the April section yet. I have, however, completed January, February, and March. This is what I have. Now I'll show you the January section was this, all of this, so much. Took about a week. And then the February section was all of this, took about another week. And then, oh boy, when I got to the March section, I just did not want to do it. I was not motivated at all, except that I thought if I fell behind in March, I wouldn't bother continuing. I've talked about this piece before. I like the design and I don't mind how big it is, but I'm not in love with the color palette. But I tell myself, I saw the completed model framed at Swindon and I liked it, so I better just stitch the darn thing. I think it'll look really good in my bedroom when it's all done because my bedroom is green. I don't really actually care for the green color that it is. I'm thinking about repainting it a different green or beige. I think the color of this wall is it coconut milk? Something like that. It's a very nice beige. It's sampler beige. So I will be happy to have this done, but I tell you what, I had to really talk myself into starting March's section. But Jordan Tattooed Stitcher, she was already going on it. She was very encouraging, like, Audrey, you can do it. Like, I know I can do it, but I don't want to. But I did, one day, the day that I started the March section, I was home alone watching Bob's Burgers, as I want to do. And it was one of those episodes where the kids start telling stories and you realize that they're just giving you the plot of some movie. And I get to this episode and Louise starts telling the story and I was like, oh yeah, she's doing Waterworld. And I was like, you know what? I've been meaning to watch Waterworld. I had never seen it. So Kevin Costner and I, we got this section of border done. Oh my God, it is so bad. But if you are interested in a 1995 epic starring Kevin Costner and Jean Triplehorn, I would check out Waterworld. I think it's available on Amazon Prime. When Dennis Hopper showed up, I just heard Eddie Izzard say, "Kill me, Sean." It was so funny to me. I laughed, I think, probably more than I was supposed to, but it was an enjoyable time. And then when I was done with Waterworld, I went back to Bob's Burgers and watched that video, or watched that episode, I should say, and this time got all the references, really understood everything. So watched Waterworld, got this section done, not all in one day. It did take over a week for me to get this done. It took longer for me to stitch March's section than it did for me to stitch January's section, even though it's the exact same number of stitches. I still have a few weeks left in the month of April, so I have plenty of time to get the April section done, especially since the April section is so much smaller than the first 3 assignments. The first 3 assignments, you saw how big they were. You know, this was 1 month, but now the April section is only this. 2 trees, a deer, the little line of grass, and then just a small section of border. So very manageable, and I should be able to keep on going. And then when I get to the May section, which is the house, I don't anticipate this being an issue. Even though there are a lot of stitches in the house because it's full coverage, I really like stitching houses, and it's so regular, it should be easy. It should go very quickly. So Maria is a challenge, but I think when all is said and done, I will consider her to be a worthwhile challenge, worth the time and effort. So if you are interested in participating in the SAL, you can go ahead and join the Facebook group if you haven't already, or if you just want to see people's progress pictures, you can check it out there. After completing that big section on Maria, I just wanted something small, especially since I was going to be going into spring break with the kids and a week-long visit from my mom. So I didn't anticipate having a lot of stitching time, or thought that if I did get any stitching time, I would have a lot of people buzzing around me and wouldn't be able to do a lot of concentrating. So something easy, something small, something fun, something on 40 count. I pulled out Reynard. This is an animal cracker from Stacy Nash, and he is only 49 by 114, so smaller than I expected, and so fun, so easy to stitch. I chose 40 count Little Bunny by XJU Design. It's a really nice kind of beige fabric, you know, nothing fancy, but animal crackers look great on it. I can confirm I have stitched several animal crackers on this fabric. I chose to do a Roxy Floss Co conversion for Reynard. I actually had the called for in stash, and so I used those to select Roxy flosses from stash. I could have easily used the called for, but I am kind of moving into using either silks or Roxy Floss. Like if I use a cotton, I want it to be Roxy Floss. I have built up quite a collection of Roxy on my own, and then I was recently gifted a bunch too as well. So I have a nice selection from which to choose. So for Reynard's body, his fur, that sort of brick red, I chose Clay Pot, and it is a really good match for, I think it's Carolina Cecil. That is the called for his fur. He was done in just 4 days, I think. I didn't have these buttons on. He was just done without the buttons. But I was looking at him going, oh, you know, he needs a little something on him. I didn't have buttons small enough. But as I say, my mom was in town during the boys' spring break, and one of the things that she wanted to do while she was in town was to go to some different quilt shops around Indianapolis. And so I suggested we go to Always in Stitches all together, because they not only have quilting supplies, but they also have cross stitch stuff. In addition to that, they have yarn and wool applique supplies. So if you're in the area and you're interested in a lot of different types of needlework, I would check them out. Well, while we were there, I was looking in the wool applique section. They have some little buttons and safety pins and bells and things like that, little things to add to your projects. And I was like, oh yeah, Reynard's buttons. And they had these 4mm ecru buttons, a pack of 10 for $3. They're from Jabco, Just Another Button Co. So you should be able to find those online, maybe from Fat Quarter Shop if you don't have them at your local needlework shop. But I thought they were just the perfect little addition. And you'll notice that the buttons, they kind of go like this. I did that on purpose. I stitched them at a diagonal. So from one hole, I went over 2 stitches and then down 1, and then I did it the opposite way on this side to get that nice little angle. It's not necessary, but it's just a little something that I wanted to do for him. Now, I was talking to my friend Jordan, Tattooed Stitcher, about Reynard. She was considering starting him as well and maybe bringing him to an upcoming retreat because she thought that he would be easy stitching, and I totally agree. So if you're looking for something easy to do at a retreat, if you stitch like me, I would stitch down Reynard's body, do all his fur and stuff, finish his arms, the little brown of his paws that are poking into his pockets, stitch the pockets, and then after that, it's just stripes. And you don't have to count around this stuff because you will have already put it in. That's what I would do. But he was fast and fun and not complicated at all. And I think my conversion turned out great. I decided to just make him look like the model just with Roxy Floss. Whereas previously I have done, this is my Gertie. This is Henny Penny. You will have seen this before if you're a regular viewer. I changed all the colors. The stitches, like the design is the same, but I made a crazy apron and then I changed all the colors on the chicken to make her look a little different. This is also on a 40 count and she's just a big lady. Yeah, so those are ready to go off to the finisher. I'm gonna send them to my friend Greta, who owns Stitchwork Design Co. I will link her website below. I selected some fabrics from my stash. I was pulling, I have not a huge selection of quilting fabric, but I do have some browns and like little ditzy prints and things like Betsy Chuchin sort of things. And I had this and I really liked this. And I thought, well, that kind of works for Gertie here. But then I remembered I had this and I dug this out and I think this works even better. Kind of mimics the look of the apron. And I think it'll work really well. Not that you really see the back and the front together, but I kind of want, you want the backing fabric to go. So I decided then that this would go with Reynard. And I think it looks perfect because the brown and this brick red and the dusty beige color, oh, it's perfect. So I just have to cut these down, send those off to Greta, and I'm gonna send Sugar the Skunk as well to have those finished. So the next item that I finished was Voice So Sweet by Teresa Kogut. This is a chart that I purchased a couple years ago. It's so cute, but every time I thought about it, I thought, yeah, that's cute, but I'm not super excited about it. And then when I told myself that I could remove this house, I did get really excited about it. So what I ended up doing was removing the house, eliminating that verse. I did put something else in the gap that I ended up with, but stitched just 3 flowers, 2 birds, and came up with a simpler design. And I stitched this on 40 count. It's a dusty aqua linen from Tabby Cat, but it's a one-off. It's something that I purchased in a pack of 40 count pieces from her at Swindon. So it doesn't have a name. It's just I think that's a good representation right there, dusty aqua color. And I chose Roxy Floss colors for it. This has a lot of colors in it, so I will put that information below. And I got a fuzz here. There we go. And I know that it's hard to see the lettering there, but it does say, "Hope is the thing with feathers." That is the first line of a poem by Emily Dickinson called Hope. And I just thought that fit nicely. And you can see the wording in person. I know it ghosts really badly on camera, but very pretty. I'm not exactly sure how I want to display this. I showed Brian and he's like, "Great, what are you gonna do with it?" That's always this question. What are you gonna do with it? It's a little too big, I think, for a pillow, but that might end up being what it is. I also thought about a flat fold. There are some Teresa Kogut fabrics that I think would go really well with this. Something from the Hop Hop Hooray collection, and you can still get these fabrics. I thought I could do a flat fold. I could do this myself. I could have it framed. I could have it turned into a cushion. I'm not really sure. But I am happy with the finished product, even if I feel it's kind of an awkward size, too big for a pillow, too small to be framed. I don't know. But those birds are just so cute. And I love the pinks of the flowers. Salmon and smoked salmon are the two main flower colors. And I really love how they look on this fabric. Gorgeous. And then after I finished that, I actually worked monogamously. I started and finished Reynard, and then I started and finished that piece. And then I thought, well, what else can I do? And I remembered that I had this going, and I thought, aren't I almost done with that? Shouldn't I just pull that out and finish it? I was almost done. It only took me 2 stitching sessions to go ahead and finish this Scared Silly by Birds of a Feather. This, I love this. I love this, it's so weird. I know not everyone stitches Halloween, and for those who do, I know that this is not necessarily their aesthetic. You know, some people like more prim Halloween, some people like really gory Halloween, but I like this weird, silly, kooky, Nightmare Before Christmas kind of Halloween stuff, and I just think this is hilarious. I stitched this on 46 count sewing box dark from Mason Linen, and I did a Roxy Floss Co conversion. Information on all these conversions that I did will be in the drop-down box below. It's so cute. So I'll hold it close so that you can see it, even though the color does sort of washes out a little bit, but oh, there we go. That looks nice. Chalkboard for the black, so you get a little bit of variation in it. And then the red is 11 points more. It's almost just like the tiniest bit pink. And I really love how it pops on this. So I am going to send this along with some other pieces to Faye Rigsby and have this finished soonish so that I can definitely have these on display this Halloween. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday, and I love decorating for Halloween. I don't have a ton of Halloween decorations, but I have a nice start. And then I even have like one other Birds of a Feather Halloween finish that was gifted to me, and it's so cute. It's funny, my friend gave it to me and she's like, "I don't remember what this pattern is." And I was like, "I don't care, it's so cute." And then I started stitching these Birds of a Feather pieces, and I was like, you know what, it kind of looks like that. And it definitely is. So funny how as you stitch a designer, you become more familiar with that designer and their style, right? So after, I did also in this time start another piece that I will get to, but since we're talking about Scared Silly, I want to mention this. This is Poor Jack, also by Birds of a Feather. These Birds of a Feather charts were out of print. Maybe you could find a new old stock from suppliers, but Sherry Berger of Colorado Cross Stitcher, she got the rights to rechart and produce these charts again, and they are wonderful quality. I'll show you here that they are full color, easy to read, very clear, nice thick paper. Love them. So since I was so happy with Scared Silly and just really enjoying that color conversion, that combination of the oranges, and yeah, it was just, I love it on that dark fabric. I pulled this out and I went ahead and put in one little strand. I wouldn't even call this a start, but at least I know where I'm starting and I can put the rest of it in. I have decided to leave off the border. Now, I love this border, but it is over 5,000 stitches just in the border. And so that would add about another week to this for me, and I'm not sure that I really want to add all that stitches. So I'm gonna stitch Jack here without his border, and that way he will also be a little bit smaller and a better size for a small pillow finish. And I have an idea of how to use these border elements for another project. So when I get around to that, I will share that with you guys. But let me go ahead and show you the flosses that I have chosen. I pulled all the same flosses for Poor Jack as I did for Scared Silly. So I've got Lava, Monarch, and Mazed and Confused for the pumpkin. And the called for colors for Jack's head are the same called for colors for this pumpkin, so it makes sense. You know, the designer intended these to look the same, so I'm gonna make mine look the same. Plus, I just really like this combination of colors. I think they sing. And for the white, I've got Beach Glass. It is speckled, and I think it's fun when another pop of color comes up. This Dazzling is the periwinkle that I used down below in that checkerboard pattern. And it is what I am using in lieu of, I think it's Seafoam, Weeks Dye Works Seafoam. So I'm using Dazzling for that. And Chalkboard, as I said, for the black. It has a slightly greenish tinge to it, to my eye. And so I think it fits really nicely within this color scheme, especially since Jack has a teal jacket. Originally, I pulled Jungle Nights, which is a really dark teal from Roxy Floss, but I saw on the chart that Jack actually has black buttons down his jacket, and the Chalkboard black buttons would have gotten lost in Jungle Nights, so I went ahead and pulled Blue Spruce instead. And I love how that looks. Now, for Poor Jack, we also need a substitute for the ultraviolet, which is what these words and the stripes on his pants are stitched in. Now, I was looking through my Roxy Floss and thinking that I didn't have a good substitute for ultraviolet, but actually I did, because just a couple days ago, I got my latest installment of one-of-a-kind flosses from Roxy Floss. And if you are interested in any of their clubs, you can check them out at Evertote.ca. I will link that below. I am in the one-of-a-kind floss club, but there are others as well. In this pack, look what we got. A super saturated periwinkle-ish purple with a slight variegation that leans blue. It's a great substitute for ultraviolet. It's not exact. It's not an exact match, but I don't need that. If I wanted an exact match, I could just use ultraviolet. I think this is gonna work great with this color palette, because look how it looks with the Dazzling and with the oranges. It's beautiful. So since I'm showing you this, I'm gonna real quick go ahead and share with you the names of these. This is Slow Burn, Unchaperoned, Gentle Promenade, no, I'm sorry, Garden Promenade, and then we have Gentle Reader, Penelope, Diamond of the Season, and then this beautiful purple is Midnight Scandal. Now, it took me longer than I would like to admit to realize that these are probably Bridgerton inspired names. I watched the first season of Bridgerton when it came out. I watched it all in one day. I was alone at the house. And it was not for me. I had some thoughts. But I know that it is wildly popular and a lot of people really love it and are excited about upcoming seasons or spin-offs or something. I don't know, but I just love those colors regardless of what the names are. Beautiful. So if you are interested in joining that club, I do believe that there are still spots available. And it's just fun to get a little pack of surprises every other month. Last year it was every month, but then they reformatted the club and now it's every other month, which is fine. I loved getting a surprise every month, but it almost felt too often. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do with all these flosses? It's fun though, you know, add them to your collection and you get to look through them every once in a while. But I do feel that slowing it down a little bit, getting a pack every other month. I've been really good about incorporating them into my own conversions pieces that I'm doing. And I mean, just this month, you know, I just got this pack a few days ago, and you can see that something's already cut. I've already used it for a piece that I'm going to show you now. I've got plans for this. I've used these two in something I'm going to show you. And these I just love. So those are going to find a home somewhere. Those are going to be worked into something. But excited about my Halloween finish and my Halloween upcoming project this. And I know I'm going to get questions. Hardwick Manor hoop available from Hoop and Frame. If you have questions about specific sizes and different options, different needlework tools that I use, please go ahead and check out my all about needlework tools video. I will link that below. Hardwick Manor hoop, Google it. While we were at Always in Stitches, which is in Noblesville, if I did not mention that, I saw that they had the latest edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I picked this up to flip through it because I figured there would be something from Teresa Vanette, who is Shakespeare's peddler. And yes, there was. And yes, I loved it. So I bought the magazine. Because the magazine is only $12, which is the cost of one chart. So it's worth it. They have this. Yeah, this is the this season's Shakespeare's Peddler chart in this magazine. It's called Springtime Basket. And I didn't even have to think twice. Just went ahead and got this. And when I got home with that, I was thinking about it. Well, what do I want to use? What kind of fabric? 40 count and cotton. And she calls for, I think, Weeks Dye Works, maybe. I forget. But I pulled a piece of 40 count Antiquity from number 12 Stitch Co. It's a nice ivory color. And then I pulled what I thought were good substitutions, good Roxy Floss Co. substitutions. This is the green that I went with. This is jalapeno. I really like how it's looking on the project. And then I picked what I thought was a good substitute for the white and the gold and the red and the blues. And it all looked fine together, but I wasn't excited by it. So I thought, you know what? I can just change it all. I can change it all. And this is what I came up with. So I'm only about halfway through. I estimated there are about 6,000 stitches in this piece. So even though it's a small, it's actually got a lot of stitching in it. So I will show you the photo of the model again to allow you to compare. So you can see that it's really green and yellow and white and blue. And I took out, you know, I substituted colors, I added a couple more in, I changed the arrangement of the colors of the flowers within the basket, and I'm really happy with how it looks. So here's my jalapeno, the green running throughout. This gold is Nobel. This plum color is Nostalgia. These are all Roxy Floss Co. And then you can see that in the chart, actually, she just calls for one off-white. I think it might be grits or something like that. And I had pulled, I think it was Betty White or something. I only had a couple whites from Roxy Floss. And so I was thinking to myself, well, I can use Betty White or Mollusk, which is like a bone color, or I can just wait, you know, keep stitching the jalapeno, because there's a lot of jalapeno. There's a lot of green to be done in this. And I can order some new whites from Evertote. I was thinking I need to kind of like fill in some gaps in my Roxy stash. And, you know, not every white is the same. Not every black is the same. Not every yellow is the same. You know, you want variety within your stash of flosses. So I thought I was going to just go ahead and place an order with Evertote, but I got a big, beautiful box of Stitchy Kindness from a dear friend, and I did the good thing, and I sent a card via snail mail to say thank you. But I want to say thank you here again. She knows who she is. She knows that every item that she sent to me will get used and cherished and enjoyed. And among those items were a bunch of Roxy flosses, and a bunch of them were white, different whites. And I know you're like, that's not exciting, but actually it is, because I incorporated 2 of them into this floss conversion. So I forgot about Betty White. It's like, that's not working for me. Instead, I pulled frosting, which is a pretty bright white. And you can see that's what I started with up here. In this flower, bright white, and then here as well. These flowers up here. But for the basket itself, I thought, I don't know that I really want it to be so stark white. Maybe I should pull something else, an ivory color, a bone color, something off-white to kind of calm it down. And so I said, you know what? I can just throw in another one. So I pulled from what she sent me off the record. Unfortunately, I don't think this color is available anymore, but if in any of these conversions you see you like what I'm using, if you find that the color is no longer available because if it was a one-of-a-kind or it's just discontinued, whatever it may be, you can always send an email to Floss Boss Hannah at the Evertote workshop, and she can help you with a conversion. You can also provide her, for any chart, a list of the called for DMC colors, and again, she can create a pack for you. But so I am actually using 2 whites. You can see the difference between the two for this chart, and I think they work beautifully together. Also in this, I have used 2 of the colors from this month's one-of-a-kind pack. I'm using both of these. This light one here, you could, it doesn't look like it's got much color, but it really does. It is just a lighter version of this. And so here's the darker one, and this flower is actually done in that lighter orchid color. So I've got all the flowers in. I need to put in the centers of these 2 and then obviously finish the green and the basket. There are 2 deer down at the corners, and for those deer, I have chosen all bark. This is a one-of-a-kind color. If you don't have all bark, I would recommend Truffle, which I think is a little bit darker, but it would still give you that same tone. So very happy with this, excited to continue on it. I think it'll look great. And I was thinking, asking myself how I might want to finish that. I'm going to go ahead and wait for the next publications of this magazine this year, because on the chart, Teresa says, I thought it might be fun this year to do seasonal basket projects for each issue. So she has more coming that should fit this. Like, this is the first in a series, is my understanding. So I'm gonna wait to see what her other designs are this year. And if I like them all, I'll stitch them all and then decide then if I wanna finish them in 4 matching frames and hang them together, or if I might want to have them finished as smalls. Really what I'm just gonna do for now is to finish this, put in the 2 deer, and I'm not gonna stitch that red border that goes around, because if I do end up having this finished as a small pillow, I don't really think that's necessary. And when I see the other designs, if they all have the same border, I can decide, do I want them all to have the border? Do I want none of them to have the border? I can make the decision later. But if you find a chart that you like, but you're not excited by the colors, you can make your own decisions. Swap things out as you like, as you see fit. Now I'm going to go ahead and share with you my beautiful fully finished objects that I received from Faye Rigsby, who is finisher par excellence. We will start with this one. This is the Ruby Pemberton sampler pillow. This is a chart from Beehive Needleworks. It is out of print. My understanding is that it is now out of print and hard to find. And I no longer have the chart. I actually sold it to a viewer. And I'm just glad to know that somebody else gets to stitch it. That's good. These pieces that I sent to Faye went on a bit of a wild ride. Or not even a wild ride, just a really incredibly slow ride. I shipped her 5 pieces from the McCordsville, Indiana post office. McCordsville is just outside Indianapolis. I shipped them off, and I see that, a few days pass, and I think, well, they should be there already, but I haven't heard anything from Faye. So I went ahead and checked the tracking, and I saw that they left the McCordsville post office the day that I shipped them. And then nothing. Well, 12 days after they left McCordsville, they showed up at the Indianapolis Distribution Center. 12 days. Anyway, I was so relieved to see that they showed up somewhere. I didn't even care. I was ecstatic that they had showed up. The weird thing was, though, that I shipped something else in the same type of packaging from the McCordsville post office that same day at the same time. And they both just like went nowhere. They had disappeared as far as I could tell. But they both popped up eventually 12 days after I shipped them. And then just 2 days later, Faye had them. And then she turned them around really quickly. This is the second one that I'll show you. This is MC 1899. I stitched this on a 40 count, which tells you how small it is because it tells you like how little stitching there is in this. It's made up mostly of Smyrna crosses, and I use this for a Stitch With Me video all about Smyrna crosses. I will link that below if you are interested. But yeah, stitch this with Soie d'Alger on 40 count. It's just a mystery off dye piece from Tabby Cat. And Faye, she used a piece of the linen to create this band on the bottom and then put some rickrack in here. It's just amazing to me that she comes up with little things like this, because she could have easily just ended it here and put this same trim all the way around, but she made an extra step for herself by adding this, but it really adds something to the piece and I just love it. And then she makes the cording to go around. She adds these pins, and then on this one she put a little pocket. I love it. So cute. All right, next one is my blessing sampler for this year. This is the National Female Model School Sampler from Cross Stitch Antiques. I stitched this on 46 count sepia from Cedar River Linens, and I think it looks spectacular. Faye did this fluffy ribbon finishing. Perfect choice for the backing fabric. Now, something like this, I would normally have stitched on 56 count, just to make it that much smaller. But this alphabet here in the middle is over 1. And I don't shy away from over 1, but I don't really like stitching it on 56 count. So I stitched the whole thing on 46, and that way we had some good breathing room for the satin stitches there, and I was able to do the over 1 alphabet comfortably. I used Soie Surfine for the over 1 alphabet, and then Soie 103 for everything else. This chart I was given, the attendees were given at the Swindon retreat in October of last year, but it's actually a market release. So if you were interested, you can get that for yourself. Okay, reaching the end, I've got this one and then one more. This is a piece from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This is Honora Maxwell. Now, I got this chart from my friend Leslie, if I remember correctly. It was given to attendees of a retreat. I did not attend that retreat, so I don't even know what the retreat was, where people got this, but I don't know the status of this chart. I don't know if the Hats team is going to release it. I would normally say, yeah, eventually they're going to release it. However, Nicola, just a couple months ago, I think it was, in the Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers Facebook group, offered up a trio of freebies, and within that was Honora Maxwell. So I don't know if, that was free for us for a time, members of that group, and then she'll eventually allow people to purchase the PDFs, as was the case for this one. This was a freebie available to members of the Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers Facebook group in December. And now if you want to get the PDF, you can from the Hats website. So I don't know if that's going to be the case for this one, or if it just won't be really. I am not sure. I don't know. But I love how this one, I love how this one turned out. It's kind of a funky one, but I really like it. And then Faye chose this sort of sea foam rickrack that pairs nicely with this green. There are two greens in this chart. There's this grass green over here, and then this and this is more of a sea foam, and that's what she pulled out for the trim. Pocket on the back and a little charm there. That's so cute. This is on a 56 count. I think it's a Dirty Teacup. I can go ahead and check my notes if you're curious. Yes, Dirty Teacup by Needle and Flax. All right, the last one of the group is my absolute favorite. I loved the stitched piece when I got done with it. So happy with it. And so this was the reason I was in such a panic when, like, where is my stuff? Where is it going? But Faye's finish of it just brings it to a whole other level. This is Louisville Border. Now, it is charted in red. The original was done in red. And I started this in red on the same piece of fabric. I did the whole line across the top and a few stitches down the side in red. Then I went to bed and I woke up the next morning and I was like, nope, I'm gonna stitch that in this color. Just weirdly specific, but that's what I had in my head. I wanna use this color, this weird mushroom taupe khaki color. It is color 115 in the SWA 100.3 line. And I love it. And when I sent all this stuff off to Faye, I very rarely give her any kind of instruction. It's just like, you know, whenever you get it done and whatever you want to do, that's what you do. And I didn't give her any instructions for this group. But I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh, if only she could do that fluffy trim in a color that matched. I can't believe she had trim to match. And she did that fluffy finish. It's my favorite. It's my favorite kind of trim. So I was like, she read my mind. I love this one. And it's monochromatic, but absolutely gorgeous. So in my mind, I think these, all three of these look very nice together. Because we've got black and black here and greens, and then that ties it, you know. I just love how those turned out. So thank you so much, Faye. Excellent work as always. I will provide her Instagram information if you were interested in getting a hold of her. I will tell you, for the people who ask me, well, how do I get a hold of Faye? You know what I did? I just Googled her one time and I found her email address. So, you know, she can't be that hard to find. I don't know if she's taking new clients, but if you are patient, if you don't have any sort of, if you're not in a rush to get anything done, I suspect that she will work with you. She's very kind, very easy to work with, and her work is absolutely perfect. As far as purchases go, I have just a couple things to show you guys. You've already seen my latest floss pack from Roxy Floss Co Club, but what you haven't seen are the fabrics that I got from Nashville Needlework Market. When the market was going on, I saw something on social media that made me think that Mason Linen had a few pieces of limited edition colors. And I was right. I sent a message to Rika of House Stitch and Stash, and she was able to track down some pieces for me. She went up to that room very eagerly and sent me photos of different options, things that they had available. And I'm very grateful to her because what I got, you guys, is absolutely spectacular. I got 3 beautiful pinks. I actually should show you. Let's do this. Yes, look at that. So there were pinks and for yellows. Now, because these are kind of wild colors, honestly, I requested that Rika get everything in a 40 count. I figured I would be using these for smalls, maybe animal crackers, but seasonal things, ornaments, springtime pieces, things like that. These wouldn't be used for samplers necessarily. So 40 count on all of them, except Rika told me that, well, for this lighter pink, they only have a 36 or a 46. So I went ahead and asked her to get the 46. And I know that I can use both cotton and silk on 46, so this isn't really an issue. And the more I look at this, the more I think that possibly I could use this for a sampler. I stitched a reproduction sampler last year on a piece of Buttercup from Roxy Floss, and it turned out beautifully. It was gorgeous. Definitely, you know, more colorful than the model, but I really like how it turned out. That was Sarah Blackburn, if you're interested. I stitched it on a piece of Buttercup with my own Roxy Floss Co conversion, and I love how it turned out. I gifted that one to my mom, so I only get to visit it, but I like the finished product. Now, I was kind of looking through my stash. I was getting really excited about the Birds of a Feather projects that I was working on. One I had finished, you know, I've got Poor Jack coming up. And then I remembered that I had these in stash. These are the Christmas Angel ornaments. Again, this is available from Colorado Cross Stitcher. And I was looking through my stash to find fabric for these so I could just go ahead and get started on this. But I don't have white. I have every friggin' fabric under the sun except white. So I called my friend Jem yesterday, Stitchin' Jem. She's like, hello? I said, when you come, because she's coming in just a couple weeks and we're gonna go up to Country Sampler. I said, when you come, can you bring me 40 count white or 40 count off white? She's like, yeah, why? I was like, because I don't have any. I don't have any, oddly enough. Get off the phone with her. She said, yeah, she'll check her stash, all that good stuff. And if not, I can probably find something at Country Sampler. But then I'm getting stuff together for my Flosstube, and I am reminded that I have this beautiful butter yellow in 40 count. And I really think that this is a good pairing. The reason why I wanted to actually use white for these instead of some, you know, darker linen is because I want the colors, whatever colors I choose, to pop really nicely on these. But I think this light yellow will work well. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pull a color for the wings, a gold color for the wings that works well with this. But I'm very happy with those linens. Thank you, Rika, for tracking them down. You know, I didn't really know what she was gonna find. I just said, I think this is Mason. I think this is, you know, these are unusual colors. She said, yeah, they've got limited edition colors. Let's see what they got. So that was fun. It was wonderful when they showed up. That was another thing. It's like kind of got stuck in transit somewhere, but no big deal. They eventually made it here. And now you guys get to see them finally. The couple other things that I purchased, I don't actually have to show you yet. One is a chart from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. Now, I keep mentioning that Facebook group, and one of the perks of being in the Facebook group is that you get early access to some releases. So the Queen of the May, there's a special chart that's released every May by Hands Across the Sea Samplers called the Queen of the May. It's already been announced in that Facebook group. So if you're interested and you are not in that group, I would scoot on over there because you might want to check out and see what it is. I did not order the chart. I had a feeling that it was going to be this particular piece. And so I had already kind of made my peace with the fact that I wasn't going to be stitching it. I wasn't going to be buying it because as beautiful as it is, I'm not completely in love with it and it's huge. It's huge. But what I did buy was the other chart that Nicola released on the same day that kind of goes along with it, and that I was really excited about it. It's stitched by a boy, has lots of specialty stitches, and just a very pleasing design. So I went ahead and ordered the physical booklet, and hopefully that's on its way here, and I can show that to you guys next time. I also was able to pull almost all the colors from stash. Still deciding on fabric, but I'm gonna wait until I see the chart, pull the flosses back out, the silks back out, and really make a decision on fabric. I know I'm gonna be stitching it on 46 count because I think it has some over one. And as I talked about earlier, I'm not doing over one on 56 count. I did it on Harriet Goddard, but not again if I can help it. And then the other thing that I have coming are some needle minders. So both the threads announced that it would have a Wallace and Gromit collection. And I love Wallace and Gromit. So on April 7th, they were dropping all the products on their website. Now, I didn't buy any of the cross-stitch kits. They are really cute, but I think they're all on Ada. And I don't really stitch, even though I love cartoons, I love pop culture, I love that sort of thing, I don't stitch it. So I didn't buy any of those. But I was excited about the needle minders. I bought the Wallace and Gromit Duo needle minder, and then I bought the one of Gromit in his doghouse. What I was not expecting was that they had a Feathers McGraw needle minder as well, so I got that too. I didn't get the one that was just Wallace holding, I think, a mug of tea. I didn't get that one. You know, you gotta draw the line somewhere. But I will link that below because, I mean, shipping was very reasonable, and was just so excited to get them. So I like little, you know, I actually have a Wallace and Gromit necklace. I should have worn that for this video, but I didn't. So that's coming. And that's really it for the purchases for this time, which is good because as I said, Jem and I are going to Country Sampler in just a couple weeks to do damage. Hopefully not so much. You know, I just went to the attic a few months ago. I'm well stocked. I'm well stocked. And coming back to that in just a moment. But I wanted to, before I forget, recommend some YouTube channels to you. And then I got a couple little stories to tell. But probably a few weeks ago or something, I came across a new Flosstube channel. It is Handcraft by Gilena. Gilena is in the Netherlands, and she has been cross-stitching a while, I think, because she has a lot to show. She has a variety of projects. She's got a great voice, nice to listen to, and even though she's Dutch, her English is pretty perfect, of course. Of course. So she's a pleasure to listen to. Please go give her a try. I will link her channel below. And then I believe I mentioned earlier Jules Darling. She put out her latest Flosstube video just a couple days ago, and it was great. As always, I've already watched it a few times, and I'll watch it again. I'll watch it again. And I'm so excited I'm gonna get to see her in October. That's great. And then Sam Slow Snail Stitching, she just put a video out, was it yesterday? Yesterday or the day before, and existential crises notwithstanding, it was great. It was great. I messaged her afterwards. It was like, a lot of us are really feeling the same, Sam. It's okay. Cross stitch is great, right? Cross stitch is great. Cross stitch is wonderful. It's soothing. It's meditative. It's such a comfort, and I'm glad that we have this. I'm glad that we have each other. I'm glad that we have this community. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And a couple others I wanted to mention. Stephanie Cross Stitch the Globe, you know, a regular viewer of her channel. And then Stitch and Gem, I know I've already mentioned her as well. And I think that's all I have for that as well. Oh, Stitch and Gem, Market Mania. You've heard me talk about this before. If you watch Gem's channel, you've heard her talk about it. But, you know, pull out your market purchases from this year, from previous years. Pick out a couple things to start. Maybe you've already started something and you kind of forgot about it. Pull that out again and just participate in Market Mania. It's this fun thing that Gem does every year, and it's a nice way to pull out some of those old forgotten charts. And the last thing that I wanted to mention was that a few weeks ago, I did make the drive up to Arcadia to check out Stacey Nash's retail shop called West and Main. It's a sort of home decor shop. She's got a few antiques and some stationery, some candles, but some cross-stitching stuff as well. So if you are in the Arcadia area or can make the drive, make a detour, something I do think it's worth checking out. I met my friend Autumn up there, and Autumn, I just want to say again, thank you so much for making the drive. I had an excellent time. We spent probably an hour or so at the shop. I mean, it's not a very big shop, but we definitely took our time going around and looking at all the stuff. And even after I checked out and I was on my way to the store, I noticed something that I hadn't seen before, and I was like, oh. But I already checked out, so I was being good. And then afterwards, she and I got some coffee, and we just talked about life and stitching and Flosstube and just all sorts of things. And so I am so glad that a few months ago I went to that ribbon embroidery class at the Proper Stitch in Carmel, because that's where I met Autumn. It was great. So, you know, I will say if you're looking to connect with other stitchers, you can absolutely do it online, but sometimes just making the trip out to go to your local needlework shop or to take a class here and there, you know, you never know who you'll meet, who you'll connect with, and it's just this wonderful community. I keep coming back to that, but it is wonderful. And again, thank you to my friend who sent me that box of goodies. I was going through it. It was like Christmas, and I was yelling at Ryan, who was in the other room. I was like, there's a piece of lakeside in here. And he's like, okay. And I was like, it's like impossible to get. So I was very excited for me. I was very excited for me. Had fun. It sounds so silly. I had so much fun ironing. And then I got new pants hangers for hanging up the linen. So that's what I'm going to be doing after I get this up. Please, edited and uploaded successfully. Hopefully. But anyway, I'll leave you guys there until next time. If you have any questions or comments, you are welcome to leave them below. And happy stitching to you all, and I'll talk to you again in just a few weeks.